So we have a really lovely selection of canals pictures to do. Some are more, your more traditional ones, and others are, from all across the world, really, actually. We've got a few Amsterdam ones in there. A couple of pictures, a picture from, I think one might be Germany even, I think one is the UK. But I've gone for this one to demonstrate, just because it's just kind of very, very soothing and calming. And I think it's a nice one to have a go at, but you have a go at whichever you want to, really. And what I would suggest is just using a 4/4 grid to help with perspective, particularly if you've got a lot of, man-made canals and things like that. Just divide your page up into 4 so you can see, where everything is. This one's much more straightforward to do in that respect, but yeah, and then you'll be able to use each quarter to work out where everything starts and then finishes as well. So that's very helpful. But I'm going to start with this one. So I think you'll find it relaxing. So obviously I have got an orange background in here. It's kind of slightly more muted orange. It's not really bright. And I'm just going to let that, use that to enhance kind of the background colour. But really, again, it's a pastel week, and I do honestly think that it's really, really important to test those colours, because we just don't know, or can't remember, or want to kind of match to the closest really that we can see. So I'm just trying lots of pinks out before I actually start them here, just to see the tone. There's a bit of a, because I'm looking at all of the colours. With this, I'm going to work top down, just because it just alleviates all of that smudging your work at the bottom that we all tend to do. So it's quite nice to be able to work top down, if you can. And if you find it's a problem that you pop your sleeve on things, you might not. You might be absolutely fine with that, but I know I'm not. I always seem to manage to drag it over. So I've got like another pinky here. That's like a purple pink. So I'm just trying these out. And if you've got some that are very close, then you can always just line them up. Like I'll move mine down. I tend to end up with a little line of the colours that I'm actually using. At the top, actually. Just to try them. And then there's some oranges in here and yellows, all sorts of beautiful colours. So it's just deciding, which colours you think you might have in there. And sometimes you switch over. Sometimes it's really nice to get a real bright in there as well with the pastels. I think we've maybe said this before, that it just adds a really nice element to a picture. I'm just looking for another colour I have here, which is a little bit more brighter yellow, because I'm seeing yellow in there now as well. But yeah, don't be afraid to experiment. The thing with pastels is, obviously with acrylics we can mix the coloured paint, but it's nice to, sometimes we're really brave with pastels because we don't have an exact match. We tend to go for it really and try new things, which I think is quite nice. I'm just trying this pink again because I can't remember. Oh, actually, I think that was like slightly darker, that one. Yeah. And then obviously we've got some darks in there. So what we want to be thinking about is the layering up process as well. So I'm going to obviously go in with the colours of the sky that I can see, and sometimes one overlaps the other. I would say these kind of lighter areas within this, on this pink sky, overlap. They're kind of like a bit of thin cloud that's, a bit kind of coming through. And then you've got, I would say you get an overlap of a slightly lighter colour in the middle. Then we've got these other colours here coming up, and we can always like really just kind of blend them in. So as always with pastels, we want to be thinking about, if we've got opposite ends of the spectrum on the colour scheme, like if we've got something like this one, we want to be really careful we don't mix those oranges into the sky, the orange and the blue. because we'll end up with a kind of a bit more of a muddy mess in there. And we're going to try and to keep our colours fresh and bright. With this, it's not quite as bad because it's a similar tone really. And making sure we also, with the pressure of it, that we've got the right kind of pressure applied so that we get a nice coverage, really. So the more layers we put on the top, so working backwards to forwards, like I'm going to put this, because this not really doesn't take up a huge proportion, I'm going to pop this over the top of my sky. I'm not going to worry about putting it in first. It's a small amount. I'll spend more time faffing getting that in behind than I will if I just go and pop it straight in. But if you've got a big block or a big area, like there's some blocks of trees in here, there's loads of them, and there's not much coming through, you can just move that down a little bit, then you can actually kind of get a big block like that rather than taking that the whole way under here, because you'll get the blues and the yellows, you know, you might kind of mix it up a bit. So just take that blue where you can see. And the same, you know, with the other ones as well. Just take the sky where it's necessary. If you've got blocks of other things, it's not coming through anywhere. Yeah, so I'm looking, all I'm going to do now is just, I will pop in, and again, just reminding everybody, go in with a slightly darker colour. You don't need to go in with the darkest. Use a pencil or a pastel. Find a simple pencil in here. So if you just go a couple of tones lighter or darker, so you can't really see it too much. If you put something in error, then you can take it out quite lightly. You know, if you just do it nice and lightly. I'm going to go in with a darker one, just so that you can see what I'm doing on the screen. So all I'm doing is I'm looking at the, you know, proportion of this. There's probably just under 2/3 there, and that's just over 1/3 of my page. So 1, 2, 3. So that one's just over. So I'm just working out whereabouts the edge of this water comes, and just kind of popping up. I'll make it darker just because so you can see it. But again, when you're doing it yourself, make it lighter, and then if there's any if there's anything that needs moving, you can just kind of really lightly just kind of move it out of the way. I'm also looking at, you know, whereabouts this comes, so that I can make this into a quarter grid, 4/4 grid. And I think I will at the moment. I think we might need a bit of a straighter line on there. Okay. And then one there. And really, you know, again, you can do this to any, it's just so that I can see how far out this little, you know, where this other windmill is there. I'm not going to put the windmill in yet, but it just helps for a point of reference for later. And then I've got the foliage over here. And then I know that if I do a little, even on my own paper, if I just do halfway both sides there, I've got an idea of, you know, whereabouts, how high up this comes, and the fact this windmill comes up to here and all the rest of it. But what I'm just currently looking at is, you know, where this kind of little area juts out to there. And then there's another little one that juts out, and another one that juts out here. You know, it's just quite helpful to see where the land comes to, and then where the water peak comes to as well. Look a little bit. There we go. Okay. So the only thing really I'm popping in just to help is just some of these little areas of land, so that There we go. And again, as I said, I'm not popping these, I'm not really putting in the windmills yet. I'll do that underneath the sky because they're quite small on my small paper anyway. You might have a bigger bit of paper. We've got a bit of up there, we've got some grass coming through here, some more grass. And then I can really kind of focus on these two separate areas, the sky and then this beautiful, beautiful lake. So all I'm doing here is I'm just start with just really observing the colour changes where you've got some dark ones and some light ones. Now I haven't really got exactly the colour that I'm after. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of put one colour over another. This just for this top area anyway. And it's just making sure, and obviously the colour underneath that we use does make a difference. So obviously you'll get this kind of more of an orange hue coming through. So that's quite dark at the minute. So that's why I'm going to overlay with another colour. But I'm getting the darker one in first because it's good to work dark to light when you've got pastel anyway. Just to get it so it doesn't kind of get too smudged. And it's really nice, make sure you've got enough on your paper. And then I'm just going to overlay a little bit of this other colour that I've got over that dark colour because it was just a bit too dark for me. And we can't mix it on the page. It just kind of gives a different hue when you've got one over the top of the other. That's a better colour for me. But you can pop any colours really. As long as they're not the opposite ends of the spectrum, like the blues and the yellows. Then you'll get green. Building that up. Okay. So I'm going to come in now, I'm changing my colour. And this is all we can do, when we've tested these colours, is to just think, right, that's quite light actually. So I'm going to go in with this one first. I'll lighten it up in a moment. So you can use it on its side with landscape and use it on its side to get a good coverage there. Or, you can make these like circular motions as well. Either of those is absolutely fine. And really, it's about connecting all the time with the pastels, really is. Connecting with those colours, choose colours that that bring you joy. It's your, it's your choice. It really is. So yeah, just rubbing it round. Applying more if I think I need it. If you really don't like the blending, you can use like a blending tool to do that. But some people just really don't like the touch of it, and that's fine. So I'm going to go in with an even lighter one now, just getting lighter towards the middle, and I'm going to switch up and start to get some oranges and things in there as well. It will already, we'll be kind of showing through some of those colours anyway, because the orange will be coming through the paper. Again, it's best fit. We don't always have an exact colour palette, for all the pastels, and that's fine. And also, if you've got nice, really grainy paper, that's going to make a bit of a difference as well. It's just trial and error, really. So, have a little look at what orangey colours that I've got that might be. I might actually go a bit of yellow in here. Let's see. Actually, hmm. That one I'm going to put near the bottom because it's like the brightness of it. So I think I'm going to use a combination of this light pink that I've been using, just kind of near the middle here. And you can see when I'm doing this, I'm getting quite a gap through there. That's because I'm not putting quite enough on to cover. So I'm just trying to work out how much I actually want to, how much of the colour I actually want to use before I commit to popping it in. So I'm going to go a bit braver now with that. I'm going to go in with a slightly lighter colour. It's not really orangey, but it's just got a bit of a kind of a peachy tone. But see what you've got, and you see what you've got in your palette. All of the pastels are so different anyway. Some are softer, some are harder. You might have to pop a little bit more on there. And I'm going to go back over here and start to just wiggle that side to side to get some of this nice loose cloud there. And just I'm not going quite light with that, just kind of brush it across like clouds do. They get a bit, you know, kind of brush it upwards. I want it to be nice and loose and just kind of just create a nice light in the sky, really. Lightness coming in here over the pinks as well. And bring in some of this light here as well. And all we're doing is we're just really observing the colours and things that we can see. Really. So, so lovely, aren't they? I may just pop a little bit more pink under here as well. Because we're mixing a kind of a similar toned colour palette, it doesn't matter too much if we overlap it anyway. But really, I think when you're doing skies, it really is about how it makes you feel when you've done it, because you can really get a connection with those beautiful blends. Really kind of touches us sometimes. More than we expect, I think. I'll go back over here a bit. Enjoying that. There we go. And I'm going to go down in, starting to get this kind of a bit more yellowy orange down here. So I'm going to come in, just try some colours out that I feel I picked that I quite like to look at. And again, they'll respond a bit differently over the top of, some of these, you know, the orange kind of background that we've got there. So, and again, you know, it kind of all, it's quite quite an interesting sky, this one. It might just overlap in places a little bit. But this is what I was saying about popping in, sometimes popping in a bright in amongst other colours really makes it pop. Just kind of brushing it up without over mixing it. If you're starting to really enjoy the colours, that's what it's all about. Really, I think so anyway. Just kind of weaving in a little bit of these oranges over here into this pink at the top, because that's what I can start to see now. It's amazing what you start to see when you've got your art goggles on, when we're really looking. It's like, oh, actually, I can see that there now. Oh, I can see that. So I'm just going to bring a little bit of this yellow through here behind. It's going to probably go behind the windmill, really. If it's kind of like not really covering, just load it up a bit thicker. We're not, we're working down, so we're not actually going into any other areas. We're not like causing any problems. Pink now as well. I'm just I am gently like just bringing this over now. I'm not doing too. And ever so slightly over the top here. Just nice and lightly, because we don't want to, what we don't want to do is kind of like put too much on so it gets saturated as well. So we're just trying to kind of manage the colours that we've got in there. But yeah, I mean, I'm putting some of these. This is much brighter than is on here, but I really like that colour, so that's what's going on. Really important to make those decisions about what you like as well. Exercising our right to create in the way that we want to do it. Really important. This back in here, behind there, and I'm actually, this is where I'm bringing in a few bits of this orange over the pink now. I'm starting to see those colours. That's fine. If it's giving you the desired effect, just go for it. And then I'm going to go in with an orange one at the bottom. It's just whether I go for that one, or whether I go the one that's a bit warmer. Right, I'll try this one here. I'm going to go in for this warm one. It's real bright, this one. I'm going to go for it. Have a good experiment and go with the colours that just really, I just think, wow, I love those. Definitely tonight. I'm in that frame of mind. Hope you are too. Having a just thinking, yeah, let's just give it a go. But yeah, you can go with any colour you like. Almost a bit of pink again at the bottom as well. A bit of pink just right at the bottom. But yeah, just popping in some brights can just really change, especially when we start to get all the darks on. It will really lift lift it. And then you get this up, you know, when you get this upward, lovely, upward kind of misty cloud as well. So I'm going to rub it in. I'm going to pull it over so there's a bit of an overlap. That's what I feel like I'm seeing there. And then I'm just going to finish off a little bit with a slightly more pinky one down here as well. Let's look. It's as dark as the top, it's a bit more, it's a bit of a warmer pink. So I'm going to go in with this, it's slightly warmer. This is where I'm going to be a bit careful how I apply this because we've got, I don't want to put too much on, but just want to get don't forget to kind of blow your page a little bit as well. Bring in this light a little bit. And again, you can kind of pull it over as though it's like a bit dusty. Over. So yeah, so get all these fabulous colours in behind. I hope you're really enjoying doing yours. It's just so nice to get these colours in that we're really enjoying. Now I'm looking at that now, I'm thinking actually I need a bit of a lightness to it as well, just kind of on the horizon. So I'm going to go in again with a just a little bit of lightness there. And the other thing is, you know, you can always go in with a bit of a blending tip if you want to do, just kind of blend it in just a bit. Just make sure your blending tip's clean there. I've got like dark on one side, but the other side's light. So I just want to blend that in a little bit. And then just have a little look at what you've got. See if you're happy with it. Obviously, it's going to change again once we get some of the other colours. So I'm going to take I'm being quite now. This is where I'm going to be quite very, very light with my fingertip now because I've got lots of colour underneath. Don't want it all in a muddy mess, but I do just want this lightness. So as long as you've got plenty on that you can drag as well, that's the other way of doing it, making sure there's enough. That also helps. I'm pretty happy with what we've got there. Just nice and light on the top. As I said, I don't want it to just get into this kind of too much colour almost in there. Just a little bit here, it's just slightly light, but I'm popping plenty on whilst I'm doing it. And then just, you know, you can use a different finger. Fascinating anyway, I find it really, really interesting doing this Canals. And then I think I'm pretty much there with it. We tend to, you know, layering up, we tend to make that thicker layer on top, and you can, you know, you can kind of press harder with it as well, so that there we go. So I'm just giving my fingers a clean before we move on to the next stage. I'm going to take a pause there before I put any you know, windmills on or anything, and see how you're getting on, because it's just nice. Then just have a little step back. If you can hold your work back to have a look at that, would be really, really good, because it does look very different. Okay, so when you're happy with you know, your background with what you've got there, I've just seen another bit I would like to just pop over this light bit here. I'll do that nice and lightly. I think it was that one. So I've just seen a colour I really like on there, and I'm going to try and pop a bit more of that on because I really like it. I think it's that bright orange actually. That one. I'm just mixing a bit that, because you know, if there's something that you really like, then it's absolutely worthwhile. It was that kind of brighter orange that I've just noticed I quite like on there. Mixed in a little bit, so pop it. Sometimes as we're working through, we just think, oh yeah, let's add a bit more of that on top. There we go. So yeah. Okay, right. So I'm just going to check, make sure my fingers are nice and clean. So I am going to work top down. So I'm going to actually get this windmill detailing, and then, you know, these little areas as well here. So, you know, you can use a blending tip if you've just got a pastel and you can't quite get the exact you know, shape or whatever that you want. Just by popping the edge of you know, to get the windmills on, for example, these bits here, yeah, I've forgotten what they're called now. The
Sales.
thank
Sales.
you, sales. That's it. I just couldn't find the word. Yeah, the sail. So to get the sails on, if you have not got like a pencil where you can pop it on nice and thinly, obviously I'm just holding this up the middle because I know that it comes almost to the middle here, and it comes on an angle there, just under halfway to the bottom there. So I'll put that about there. That's where this one of the sails comes to. But yeah, if you haven't got kind of the right colours and things to get the sails in, then put it on nice and lightly till you're comfortable. Just use the real edge. I mean, this is quite curved. It's quite curved now with this one, but I'm really lightly popping the edge on. You can use, you know, the edge of a blending tip to kind of pull that along, which is quite handy. So again, I'm just going to go through, or you can use a pastel pencil. It's entirely up to you. So what I want to do now is make sure I get this this in nicely. So I'm just going to use the edge of a pencil. I'm looking at you know that this one comes kind of straight over the top. If that one went straight over there, it would come to about here. I'm just going to go in with a pencil there. A moment. I'm going to get in the edge there, and then it's got a little bit of an angle. I'm just going to follow that over onto my page. Oops, should be here, shouldn't it? Nearly went the wrong way there. Let's just check that again. So I'm just popping that nice and lightly over the top here, just to make sure it's in the right place. And then bring that all the way down. And obviously I want to leave enough so that we can get the grass in over the top as well. grassy bank. And then make sure we get the other side. So again, I'm just kind of looking at the angle that we've got this here. It does kind of fold around a little bit. And then it's got a bit more of a steep side to it there. So it just depends on what, you know, what angle everything is at the time, doesn't it? And then we've got all sorts going on, haven't we here? We've got the top here. This is the darker area. I mean, this is just the first kind of little bit, and then we've got part of the end here. I'm just getting some little details in because we're going to go over the top as well of this background. We want to make sure that we get everything where we need it. So I'm going to bring this up, and this one comes out the back here. Follows, this is the bottom area here. Comes just out, doesn't it? And it just juts out. And then we've got these sails. So we've got a thicker bit of the sails and a thinner bit. And then we've got this one going up. So it doesn't follow entirely up. It kind of comes up and then that comes up just slightly that way in the middle. You want a general idea, don't you? I'm not going to blend this or anything in because I want to keep it nice and straight. I want to put this edge of the sail in. We're just copying the detail really now of this. This bit of the sail comes up. And like I said, so if you haven't got that, you can use like a little blend, you can use a little earbud or something as well, actually. I'm just going to go in with the edge of my pastel here to make it, and what I'm doing is I'm pressing quite hard, keeping it nice and light so that it's, and then, but at the same time I'm pressing fairly hard as well so that it makes a good mark over the top, so it does press into the paper without me having to do too much rubbing in. And then what I can do there is just move it along with the tips. I'm just showing you the alternative kind of blending with a pencil. And then same here, I'm just moving this along. So I've got a sharpish line in here. I know people find that quite difficult sometimes with pastels, but just blowing off the excess dust as well. And then I am going to just draw in, you know, this kind of a pencil there. Slightly darker one, which is probably better for the I want to do it. So I'm just, again, I'm putting nice, plenty of pressure on, and then I'm just drawing in the lines there, and then the ones that go up extend up. You know, this is the beauty of pastels. One minute you can be kind of, you know, blending, the next minute you're putting in some more finer details, which is just, it's all good fun. Choosing different parts of the brain to do it. And then obviously we've got this, you know, upright that's much darker as well. Just be careful not to smudge the underside of what I'm doing there. We'll go in with the edge of my pastel really carefully. Bring that down. And I can use this very carefully just to take out a little bit as well if it's a little bit over. So I'm going to put mine there. And then popping back in just a few of these lines that we can see. Putting enough pressure on, but I don't want it to be quite as dark. You can just kind of put a suggestion that there's a little bit of a grill on there. In there. Okay. So then obviously we've got little different areas here of there. I'm going to pop in the dark ones. Okay. So where we've got some really dark areas in here, you can even use, if you wanted to go in like even darker with a black or something, that's fine. It is, it's man-made, isn't it? And we do tend to find darker things on there. So I'm just going to kind of go in with a pencil, but again, you can go on with the edge of your pastel, that's absolutely fine. And I'm just looking at, how this is shaded. And here. Just pop, oops, sorry about that, just pop the lighter areas in there as well. Whatever colour you decide that is. I might even go a bit of purple in there actually, a bit different. Quite like that idea. And then we're just kind of creating what we can see then as well. I'm going to pop this orange underneath. Again, you can do that with what I'm doing now, because I'm going over the top of that background, making it, I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on there. But I want to put that on before I put the black over the top of it. Now I'm looking at the colours here. So again, let's have a little look. It's deciding what you want to use. I might even use this dark purple. Let's have a little look. I quite liking. It's quite nice. There's almost kind of, when you start looking, it's pinky. Is it pinky? Is it ready? Just see what you think. So I'm going to pop those colours in amongst, but I'm going to put the darks of this area in. Now I've got this orange bit. So it's deciding what colour do you want this to be. Now I'm looking at my purples and I'm thinking of purples and browns together, just because that's the tone I'm quite fancying. But again, I need to test my browns out. There we go. I may try a combination of those two colours because I quite like it. So I'm going to pop this windmill in. Again, going over the top of something. Blow up the excess again. And the difference here is we don't mind having a bit of texture. Because if you look at the windmill, you can actually see, kind of where some of the some of it is a bit darker. And it comes round. Taking out that section. Just realised I've gone over the wrong bit, but that's fine. Should have left this a little bit. Just take it out a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to go in now. Just a bit of this shading over the top as well, just because I just think I quite like a touch of purple on it here, because that's what I'm seeing these tones in there. But then also, I'm just looking, this colour here, it's like, what colour is that? What do you want to pop on? It's a little bit orangey, actually. I want to go in with a bit of orange. And again, I'm going to move side to side with this just to get a bit of texture. Almost like it's got a glow. And then the same, a little bit of a glow down here. And a little bit across the top. Just helps us to kind of, I might even pop a little bit of red in there as well. So it kind of pops a bit. A bit of this pink down here. And then there's two bits at the bottom, but I haven't got that on yet, so I'll do that as I come into it. So just so I want to kind of create a little bit of definition there. So we're just going to work it into that little bit of a detail. I'm just making this darker because it wasn't quite darking for me actually. So I have to start lighter and work up to darker if you're not sure, rather than the other way around, because you can't change that very easily. And then, there's a couple of like little windows here. You can just see a bit light above it. So I'm just going to put the dark underneath it. And then the other one under here. And then we've got the bottom where we've got a little window here. And we get the shape, don't we, of the get the shape of it here. So again, just going to kind of blend it in just a little bit because it's got a little sharp. I wanted a definition, but maybe that's a bit too sharp under there. So just soften it down. We'll soften anything down, which is good. And I am going to pop just a little pop of colour coming out of there, here. Again, you just decide. I'm going to go in with orangey colour here. Just there's a hint that might be a bit of light or something there. I'll just brighten this up a bit. Right, just check your fingers as well, because that's, you know, once you start to go into something else as well, it'll start to rub all over your things. I'm just going to work in here now. It's got another little downpipe in there. And just do something at the bottom here. Just which pink I'm going to use. We've got a bit of orange in it. And just get all those colours I can see there. Maybe just a little bit of orange. Sometimes we pop in a couple of colours. It just kind of changes the colour there. And again, this will all change once we start to get the water in and everything. We're just going to get, you know, bits in there. Right. So what I am going to do is put in along this base here, the shadow between here and the bottom of the windmill. And that will change things again. There's a little bush here, which I'll sort out in a moment. So it's just deciding, you know, there's quite a bit, even in here, there's quite a little bit going on because you've got a little bit of kind of foliage there that's more of a bushy. And then there's a bit of, it looks like the edge of grass, but it's a beautiful colour in this light. And then you've got the edge here that looks almost, it could just be just the edge of the canal where it's very light. And I'm just popping in the shadow that goes underneath there into the water. We always get that shadow underneath things that have been made. I'm just popping that in now, actually. So that's so I can see where the edge is. So I'm doing this, you know, popping the shadow in, not creating an outline, like a thick outline. It's this bit of shadow that we can see. I'm trying to get that in. And then we've got this, like I said, this very light area in between this bushy bit here. Definitely bush-like. And then this kind of layer of grass along the edge here, little bushes. Then we've got this very light bit here, haven't we? So I'm going to get in some of these like darker areas of bushes, and it's like, you know, how dark do you go? Do you want to go with brown? Do you want to go with green? Is there a mossy green? What colours can you see in there? So again, I have to test. It's going to be quite dark. It might be too warm, actually. Let's see what else. Because the light it's in is very dark, isn't it? What I may have to do is pop in overlayer the brown and the green. That's fine, actually. That's better. So we get those different colours in there. So I'm going to use my pencil for that because this is tiny. If I've got an A4 or an A3, I would go in with a bigger pastel, but on a very tiny A6, which is half of A5. I'm just kind of pulling that grassiness up. We're getting the dark ones in first, set those in place. And then these greens and browns together. So I may have a little pencil. Oh, there we go. That one. That's really right. Not that one. This is the thing, they always look so different sometimes than actually the colours. What's that one? A bit mossy green. I think I prefer that one. So I'm just going in with this green as well, with the brown. We're doing that in so that we can see we've got the edge of this. Now, I'm just carefully dabbing that down, kind of smudging it together. And just going in, just kind of getting some of the well, and then I'm going to pop in between there. There's kind of another nice colour between there. So I'm looking, I don't want a too bright a tone. Draw off a brighter tone at the bottom. So I'm going to pop this one along the bottom just before. I'm still kind of trying to create the movement, like there's some grassed area in there. I'm giving it enough, pressing on enough to get to make it stick with the mark. I want to make the marks in there. Or you could go in with pink or whatever colour you can see. I'm very careful, just very gently tapping that so we don't get, we will end up with a muddy mess if not careful. And I want a hint that there is some path or something going along here. I can't quite see that. It's not really light. Let's see what I can find. That one. But you can really only just kind of see it. Only just kind of see it along there. Just kind of pokes out, doesn't it? I do want to get this darker colour in. Very shadowy. And here, I'm just going to work. Right. Okay, so I'm going to get this foliage in here now. So find the tone that you like. I'm going to just give impressions 2 or 3 kind of main stems to this. I'm going to go in the dark one in there. And then just kind of create some wiggly lines over the top. This tree, this bush, the same here. I'm giving enough pressure that it will stay. No, no, if it's all a little bush here at the bottom. Put that there. And then we're just moving along here. Before we go on to this water area here, I think my mind's leaning a little bit the wrong way actually. I've just seen that now. Oh dear, right. Let's just bring that down a little bit. There we go. Right, so see, I do get it wrong sometimes as well. There we are. So just going to continue bringing this out here, you know, where these other areas are. I'm going to put the dark, really dark one in here. That's such a dark shadow there, and I'll get that one in place. And then just pop in some of this green area, whichever colour you can see in between. We're just kind of picking up the detail now before we go in, like really. Mm. And we'll follow the bank up. We can see a few of these little trees and things, can't we, over here? Mm. And the edge, the shadow of the banks as well. Get those shadows in. Mm. And some of the other little ones here. We're just following the line along really, and you know we can make some of these things up too. Don't have to do everything highly accurate. It's our own impression, isn't it? That's getting a little bit lighter as it comes round. It's almost got a bit of a pinky tone on it, so I'm going to pick up some of this with a bit of a pinky tone. because that's what I'm seeing. But pop in whatever it is that you see. I think maybe some of these banks are picking up the light colour. Yeah. Now I'm going to go in a bit darker in this shadow area here. It looks a bit strange. It looks like it's floating at the moment, but once we start to get the water in, it'll be much better. So it feels like I need to get a little bit of foliage in over this side. And we'll continue just to do that. Tree a bit bigger. Okay. Yeah, so we've obviously got the other little windmills to put in. We can position it now. If I go about, where's halfway? Halfway is that out there. And this little windmill just there. We can see the height of it as well. Comes halfway between here and that one, so it's quite small. And you might not be able to pick out all of the shapes and things in it. But we will know from this is the windmill that these are also windmills, because if we can recreate a similar shape, then it's fine. We'll pop that one in there. Then the next one along, they're all all together, they're about the width of this. So they're all squashed in quite close together, so that's something to watch. We can see the height of the next one and the next one. They're getting, progressively smaller, aren't they? And we can pop those in. So by this point, we don't want too much detailing. We want them to kind of go away without too much detailing at all. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil with a pardon the noise. Not working. I actually can sharpen these. With a normal sharpener, however, that one's got something stuck in it, so I just have to tonight with that. So I'm just getting on some of these darker tops that we can see and just creating some of the shape. Some shape in there. Small one here. See that one, can I? Very well. see the top of that one. So, we can see kind of less and less of things as they go through. We're just looking at the shading that I'm going to put like a bit of a, almost a bit of a lilac colour on this one here. Grey in it. It's nothing like got the warmth of this one here. So it's just really getting the shapes in as opposed to masses of detail, I think. Let's pop a tiny bit of pink on there, purpley pink. One. So there's just that kind of hint suggestion of that it's there. We'll get the top on this one now. Gone over that bit there, so I can't quite see what's going on, but imagine. There we go. Okay, so take a little pause there and have a little look about how we're going to join all this together really. See how you're getting on with them. Okay, so let's have a look at the water. So often, what we have is a much kind of a less contrast in certain certainly in the water, but it just depends on the colours that we've got. So you tend to get like the lighter colours are reflected slightly darker, and the darker colours are reflected slightly lighter than things are. But this one is just really interesting because we have got these much lighter areas where probably it's falling behind. So it's interesting to see that coming through. So we'll just have a little go really with it and just pop in the colours that you think you can see is what I would suggest. So I'm going to looking at ones I think might overlap. So I want some quite light pinks in here. So having a little look, that will be probably good for the front. So is it lilac-y? I can see some lilacs in there. So that's another colour I'm going to pop in. Kind of a orangey, which one was that one? Orangey pinky over here. That one. I want to get in the ones that are just, I think, are slightly darker in here. And then pop in with these colours over the top where it's slightly warmer. So I'm just going in with a bit of orange over a bit of pink here. That's what I feel I can see. It's just slightly warmer over this side and over here. Before I go with my lights there. I'm going to go in, which pink shall I go in with? This one, I think. So I'm going to go in with these slightly lighter ones behind it. And again, just got to, if you run a very small piece of paper, you have less space for blending. Just use a tip of your finger, or you can use a blending tip. Just bringing these colours around. And these colours down over here, there's lots of very light ones in there. Almost some. Only do what you can see really. We've got some nice lilac-y ones. I've gone in with lilac, but you can go with any kind of a one that you fancy. Over here, I'm going to come in with a few lilac-y and pinky ones. See? So I want to get these a bit put this orange in here. So I'm not going to end up with this orange water, but I'm just kind of starting out with that colour until a little bit more of the light colour that's coming between it, like this. So what you can have is, you know, this kind of nice light reflection that's coming down. You can start to pop in side to side. That helps kind of create that kind of effect. And I'm just kind of tapping that in with my finger. Obviously we've got a big dark one here, so I'm just trying to come either side of it a little bit. Because the light ones tend to go over the top, then what I'm going to do is start to pop in this one here. So we want it kind of straight, but not straight, if you know what I mean. Still need it to be, feel like it's under the water. Shadow from side to side here. Key is to not over mix it again. Just dragging that over the top of that because it's a bit, at this point it does get a little bit hazy. So we might have some things in there. Yeah, just softening that down a bit. Nice and dark on this water's edge here. It's quite casting quite a shadow over. Again, I want to soften that down because I don't want it to be as sharp as up here. So just go. So again, you know, we've got to just remember we're trying to recreate our artist impression of what we can see, which is important to remember that. I'm just going to go in here, bring this shade in now with a pencil. And I'm making this hazy. I'm not making it a really sharp line. A little bit here as well. Just going to pop in a bit of, I think I can see here, it's a bit purplish. I'm going to go a little bit pinky, I think. So then this is where you can pop in any colours you think, oh yeah, I can see this colour in here. Or just have a little experiment with it. When I'm going over the other colours, I'm just going on slightly harder. And you can just, you know, explore popping some different colours in than you would normally. It's really nice to do that. It's not your typical colour palette. It's good. It's good to explore new colours, colour combinations now and again that we wouldn't normally. And it gets us thinking in a different way about colour all the time. It's lovely. So just going back to now where my shadowy areas are. Another one here under there. Comes under here. I need to kind of put enough pressure so that fix it in a little bit. Also keep it nice and bit hazy at the sides as well. So these ones that we get in these little shadows of this are pretty much the, you know, the areas of the trees and things like that that we get in there. That one is that one. And then we've got some nice little light ones here. Not quite as dark, are they? But still enough that we've got a little bit of shadow in there. Just tap them down. A dark one in there. That's a dark shadow for this. I'm going to put that one in. Excuse me for squeaking. I think I'm not going to put all this here because I actually quite like it. But if you did want to, you know, that's on the top of the surface. So you can just kind of, I'll draw it in just because it's there. So I'm going in with a similar tone to what I've done the shadows in the water, maybe a bit darker. Almost looks like it could be a weed or a bit of a lily pad or something like that. You know, we can put all these little mark making areas that we do. Lightish. I'm going some slightly darker colour in places, but I'm not going to, not too much. Keep it nice and light. There we go. And then, just have a little look. Are there any other lighter patches? So I can see now, in between these, I'm going to just go in over the top. We tend to pop in the lightest patches after. Again, we do need enough light on there. Enough pressure that we can pop it in. I think I've done these a bit pinky. These are more, I'd say more to me, that I can see a bit more orangey colours over this side. So I'm wiggling it this and then I'm just gently fixing that into place. Bit there. Just going to kind of make that in and over the top anyway. I'm just keeping it separate to that really dark. You might go even lighter. Just have a little look at where you can catch any other reflections in. See if there are any lighter ones. And try that. It all builds up to create this lovely feeling of reflection in the water, really. Really nice. As well as getting those fabulous colours in. If we see any kind of ripply, start to see any ripply colours or anything like that, pop those in. Okay. Over here, just a little bit. A little bit of reflection here. Okay. There we are. So I think, you can go and have a little check in. Is there anywhere that needs an extra bit of a highlight, or that you want to kind of brighten up a bit, or are you happy with where colours that you've got? I might just make that not there, but I'm just looking at going back to this bit. So I'm obviously wanted to make that just slightly brighter. And then just, just have a little kind of rest on it really and see, come back to it and see if there's anything you think you might do to it, or you might not really. You take off the edges of these papers. You've got some tape on it, it does look quite nice. You end up with a little border. It's neat underneath. There you go. So that's a little bit better way of seeing it actually, because it's more central now. I think it's because I've got the paper to the side. So it's just really nice to experiment, isn't it, with these beautiful colours. They're just so stunning, whichever one you choose, as long as you're connecting with that colour, that's the main thing really. And having a little go at these different topics and things like that. So I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. Just nice to get playing. And there we go. So lots to think about. Enjoy.